Want to see more cool videos on our channel? We do, so press this bell and enable to send notifications.
When you think of ancient sites, where does your mind go first? Chichén Itzá in Mexico? The Parthenon in Greece? The Nazca Lines in Peru? Well, you should think no further than the US itself, because spread across this country are great numbers of ancient archaeological sites. Some are enormous or incredibly complex or incredibly old, and all are well worth a visit. So before you spend thousands of dollars to see sites abroad, why not see these sites at home? America's history started long before 1776, and it's calling your name. Number 10. Mesa Verde dwellings. The Mesa Verde dwellings are some of the most notable and best preserved archaeological sites in the North American continent. Sometime during the late 1100s, after primarily living on the Mesa top for 600 years, many ancestral Puebloans began living in pueblos they built beneath the overhanging cliffs. The structures ranged in size from one-room storage units to villages of more than 150 rooms. While still farming the Mesa tops, the Puebloans continued to reside in the alcoves, repairing, remodeling and constructing new rooms for nearly a century. By the late 1270s, the population began migrating south into present-day New Mexico and Arizona. By 1300, the ancestral Puebloan occupation of Mesa Verde ended. Number 9. Cahokia. They might as well rename this Holy Cow, because who knew there was something so epic on American soil? Long before Europeans were aware that the New World even existed, the outskirts of modern-day St. Louis were home to a metropolis known as Cahokia. Built by the ancient Mississippian culture, the 5-square-mile site reached its peak somewhere around 1100 AD, when it may have supported a population of 10 to 20,000 people, roughly the same as London. The city included sprawling public plazas and residential neighborhoods, but its most striking feature was its roughly 120 terraced earthen mounds, which often served as tomb complexes or platforms for important buildings. The largest, the so-called Monk's Mound, still stands some 100 feet tall and was once topped by a temple or palace. Excavations at Cahokia have revealed evidence of human sacrifice, as well as crafted stone figurines and a Palisade solar calendar dubbed Woodhenge. But since its residents kept no written records, archaeologists still know relatively little about their culture or religion. Even more mysterious is the settlement's sudden decline. By the 1300s, it had been completely abandoned. Number 8. Monte Alban. Monte Alban in Mexico is an impressive ancient site created by an incredible feat which involved carving a flat space out of a mountain rising to an elevation of over 1,600 feet above the valley below it. The site is characterized by over 2,200 terraces, as well as numerous pyramid structures, large staircases, ornate palaces, elaborate tombs, and even a ball court known as Juego de Pelota, mostly arranged on its grand plaza. The ball court is very well preserved, made up of 2 facing stepped platforms with a playing field in the center. The ball games played were ritualistic and often ended in the death of the losers. Today, Monte Alban is a popular tourist destination and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has a small on-site museum showing some of the finds from excavations of Monte Alban. Number 7. Tikal National Park. Tikal is a complex of Mayan ruins deep in the rainforests of northern Guatemala. Historians believe the more than 3,000 structures on the site are the remains of a Mayan city called Yaxmutal, which was the capital of one of the most powerful kingdoms of the ancient empire. Some of the buildings at Tikal date to the 4th century BC. Tikal, or Yaxmutal, was an important city in the empire of the Maya from 200 to 900 AD. The Mayan ruins have been part of a national park in Guatemala since the 1960s, and in 1979 they were named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Tourism has been credited with providing the funds to restore and maintain the Tikal, and the museum has been open there since 1964. Historians believe that people lived at Tikal as far back as 1000 BC. Archaeologists have found evidence of agricultural activity at the site dating to that time, as well as remnants of ceramics dating to 700 BC. By 300 BC, major construction of the city of Yaxmutal had already been completed, including several large Mayan pyramid-style temples. Number 6. Chaco Canyon, New Mexico. Want to see one of the most important pre-Columbian cultural and historical areas in the US? Chaco Canyon was a major center of culture for the ancestral Puebloans, and their complexes were built along a 9-mile stretch of canyon floor. Some of the buildings' walls aligned with cardinal points, while others aligned with the 18.6-year lunar cycle. And many of them are enormous, both in length and underground and above-ground structures. The building complexes, called great houses, have hundreds of rooms, a central plaza and kivas, circular-shaped underground chambers. Number 5. Tiwanaku. Situated more than 12,500 feet above sea level near Bolivia's Lake Titicaca, Tiwanaku is a mystifying complex of temples, pyramids and statues that was once the capital and spiritual center of the ancient Tiwanaku culture. The city reached its peak during the first millennium AD, when numerous monumental structures were erected near the moat-enclosed city center. Two of the most important were the Akapana Pyramid and the Kalasasaya Temple, the latter of which features a Gate of the Sun protected by a frieze of a deity brandishing a pair of staffs. Pumapunku, another major ruin, lies outside the city center and consists of several platforms, plazas and stairways. The Tiwanaku complex is famous for its monolithic stonework, which includes walls dotted with stone heads and statues hewn from sandstone and andesite blocks, some of which weighed over 100 tons. Many of these stone pieces were cut so precisely that they fit together perfectly without the use of mortar. Number 4. Meadowcroft Rock Shelter. If not for the curiosity of a Washington County, Pennsylvania farmer 6 decades ago, Meadowcroft Rock Shelter, the oldest site of human habitation in North America, might have never been discovered. The modern-day story starts in 1955 when Albert Miller, a local farmer near Avella, Pennsylvania, was walking his land. Under a rock overhang perched high above Cross Creek below, Miller noticed a small object sitting next to a groundhog hole. Realizing its native origin, Miller spent the next 14 years looking for an archaeologist to come and conduct a dig. Finally, in 1973, Miller was able to convince archaeologist James M. Adovasio to conduct a dig on the site. What Adovasio discovered changed the entire historical understanding of human migration to the Americas. Prior to the discoveries at Meadowcroft, it was widely believed that humans had come across the Bering Land Bridge to North America during the last ice age, roughly 13,000 years ago. Even more shocking, Meadowcroft Rock Shelter showed signs of continual human habitation until the 18th century, making it not only the oldest but also the longest continual spot of human habitation in North America. Number 3. Copan Ruins. Copan is an ancient Maya city located in modern-day western Honduras. It was ruled by a dynasty of 16 kings between roughly AD 426 and 820. The city's ancient name may have been Oxwittic, and its official emblem was in the shape of a bat. The city's core covered only about 37 acres or 150,000 square meters, and archaeological work shows that it was remodeled and rebuilt continuously over a period of 400 years. In its final form, it contained a great plaza to the north and built-up acropolis to the south. One of the site's most famous monuments is the so-called hieroglyphic stairway, a 63-step staircase carved with over 2,000 individual glyphs, more than in any known Mayan inscription. There are also several stone steles and altars adorned with images of the city's rulers and descriptions of its history. Copan may have had some 20,000 residents at its peak, but it went into decline in the 8th century after its 13th king was captured and beheaded during a conflict with a rival kingdom. The city was subsequently abandoned and remained largely unexplored until the 1800s. Number 2. Caral, Peru. It's widely taught in the field of ancient history that Mesopotamia, Egypt, China and India gave rise to the first civilizations of mankind. However, few are aware that at the same time, and in some cases before some of these societies emerged, another great civilization had sprouted, the Norte Chico civilization of Supe, Peru, the first known civilization of the Americas. Their capital was the sacred city of Caral, a 5,000-year-old metropolis complete with complex agricultural practices, rich culture and monumental architecture, including 6 large pyramidal structures, stone and earthen platform mounds, temples, amphitheatre, sunken circular plazas and residential areas. Archaeologists believe that Caral may also answer nagging questions about the long mysterious origins, may even hold a key to the origins of civilizations elsewhere. In 2001, UNESCO named Caral the oldest city in the Americas, almost 1,000 years after the first signs of its existence were detected by famed German archaeologist Max Uhle. Not since 1911, when American Hiram Bingham stumbled upon mystical Machu Picchu, has a more significant discovery emerged from Latin America. Finally, open to the public and set to become one of Latin America's foremost historical attractions, the ancient city of Caral is a marvel not to be missed when visiting Peru. Number 1. El Tajin. North of the city of Veracruz is the town of Papantla. Just outside of Papantla are some mysterious and fascinating archaeological ruins. El Tajin, meaning thunder in the Toltec language. Although other records link the name etymology of the site to mean place of the dead or place of the invisible spirits. The large ancient complex is believed to have once been a ceremonial and administrative center that peaked sometime between 600 and 1200 AD. Its construction has been attributed to a tribe related to the Maya. Still, there are many questions outstanding about the inhabitants of this ancient city, and many of the buildings remain engulfed in jungle vegetation. El Tajin has some very unusual structures. Over 150 buildings have been identified on the site, although so far only around 20 have been excavated and restored. El Tajin is one of Mexico's most enigmatic archaeological sites. A comprehensive archaeological excavation project keeps revealing even more unusual buildings here, including temples, palaces, and ball courts. As El Tajin unravels with surprising complexity, it keeps throwing up more and more mysteries. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.